Speaking of the Bella Twins, though, we got to get to this. Liv Morgan injury update. During a match on Monday's Raw with Kairi Sane, she was unfortunately injured literally within seconds of the match starting. Like mere moments after the bell rang, I think they may have done one or two moves. Kairi Sane took her to the ground, and it was not Kairi's fault. So for anyone saying or starting to think, oh, Kairi Sane involved in yet another injury, because she was in the match where Zoe Stark got hurt a couple of weeks ago. There is more of a case to be made that Kairi could have done something differently in that match to prevent Zoe from getting hurt than in this match with Liv Morgan. This was a complete freak injury, as I put in the headline of the video. A complete freak injury for Liv Morgan. There was no way of avoiding this. And because of this one freak injury, per WWE, they have not officially announced anything, but per WWE through the dirt sheets, Fightful and whatnot, it's worst case scenario. Because the belief is that she's going to miss upwards of 6 months of in-ring action and be off WWE television. Now, WWE has said nothing about this, so we don't know about her status as one half of the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, if she can stay on TV as an on-air personality. Someone mentioned earlier in the chat, oh, maybe having her work as GM. From a storyline standpoint, I'm not really sure how that makes sense. But then again, they had Sonya Deville when she was out of the ring back in 2021 working as Adam Pearce's assistant. And they kind of made a case for it then as to how that made sense. So maybe they could do something similar with Liv, just to keep her on the show. But at the very least, she is not wrestling anytime soon. And quite honestly, the timing could not be worse. I know she's not in the midst of a reign as Women's World Champion. And I mean, I guess the timing could have been worse because at least she got to wrap up her lengthy feud with Rhea Ripley earlier this year back at the Raw premiere on Netflix and end that run, win the women's tag titles, be a part of WrestleMania, which she was not last year. She has missed the last, maybe not the last few Manias. I think she was a WrestleMania 39 in the tag team match, 38 or 37. I think, actually both of those, all of those Manias, I think she was a part of in tag team matches. And this year, same thing, another fucking tag match. But at least she was on the card this year after the great year that she had in 2024, because she was not a part of WrestleMania despite being healthy last year. But nonetheless, she is seemingly off Evolution. She's off SummerSlam. And someone asked earlier, how could Liv Morgan's injury, the injury to this one female performer, mess up so much if she was only just the tag team champions and scheduled for one match at Evolution? We don't know what else they officially had planned for this woman, but it was pretty clear from watching Raw, even on Monday, that it was a fair amount. And again, it's not even as if she's one half of the tag team champions. So, we got to scramble and take the titles off of her. The easy solution to that is just replacing her with Roxanne Perez. Pull a Naomi and Bianca, or Bianca and Jade, where Bianca and Jade were tag team champions. Jade got injured in storyline. I think she was injured in real life. We never got real clarification on that. But in Jade's absence, Naomi was kind of just given the women's tag team titles and officially recognized as one half of the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. In her absence, that's what they did. So they could do something similar here where they just give the belts to Roxanne because she's kind of like an ally to the Judgment Day, not an official member of the group, but she steps in, wants to prove herself to Liv Morgan because she won last week's Queen of the Ring Fatal 4-Way quarterfinal match. But her spin on it was, hey, Liv, I prevented you from getting pinned. I may have won, and you didn't win, but I still saved you from getting pinned by Kairi Sane or whoever it was. I think was it Kairi? I don't think it was Kairi. I think it was someone else because she went on Raw. She went on Raw last week, so she did pin Kairi. I'm thinking it was Raw this week. It wasn't because Liv was injured in the match with Kairi this week on Raw. But anyway, they could have Roxanne slip right in there. That may solve the Bella Twins issue because it looked like they were either setting up Liv and Nikki one-on-one, which would have been fine, honestly. I was more looking forward to that than a Bella Twins program with Liv and Raquel. I understand maybe wanted to give the Bella Twins a run as tag team champions. I mentioned that earlier. Not really something I particularly care about, honestly, unless they were to win the belts and immediately retire them because they are basically props at this point that mean nothing. They are pointless props. Beyond that, not really a match I was excited about. But Liv was scheduled to be a big part of that show. She was the only person. I mean, Evolution's in a few short weeks. Evolution, like I talked about All In earlier, and the lack of build really for that show. And they at least have 3 top matches announced. It's the same fucking weekend as All In is Evolution and Saturday night's main event. The only match I think that we know for a fact is happening as of now for Evolution is the NXT Women's Championship match with JC Jane defending against the winner of this Evolution Eliminator they're doing right now on Tuesdays. Very likely, I would assume, will end up being Jordynne Grace, but I could be wrong. I don't think Jordynne Grace wins the belt. I think it ultimately gets to Mariah May. But anyway, that's the only match for a fact that we know is happening. Jacy Jayne in action. That's it. We know nothing else from the main roster beyond what they were likely going to do with Liv and Raquel versus the Bella Twins. And it messes up that match. Whatever Roxanne was going to do at Evolution, which was probably something significant, I would imagine, they have to change plans with her because she now probably has to team with Raquel to make up for Liv's injury. And not to mention everything else they were teasing at the moment. For Monday's Raw, it looked like they were setting up an Io Sky Liv Morgan matchup. Now, they did have a match back at Saturday night's main event in December. Liv beat Io to retain the Women's World Championship. But Liv made the comment on Monday that Io's never beaten her, which I don't think she has. Maybe in tag team matches, but never one-on-one. That might have been the only singles match they've ever had. If they had another one, Io didn't win it, because I checked on Monday because I was curious by what she meant by that statement. Anyway, they were going to set up Io and Liv. That match is now off the table. Io's again directionless. She's been largely directionless for a little while now as they kind of let the dust settle for Money in the Bank, see who won the briefcases. Well, it's Naomi. Naomi's probably... Oh, my shit just fell. I just got scared shitless for a second. I apologize. Over there on the off camera. Naomi's over on SmackDown. She's probably not winning in cashing in, or not winning, but rather cashing in on the Women's World Championship on Raw. So that clears up the Raw Women's title picture. They were probably going to do Io and Liv to give Io her win back over Liv. That match is also now not happening. But the bigger picture in all of this, what Raw for a large part has been built around for many, many months now, and really has been built around for the last 3 years, is the Judgment Day tension. Raw was built all around the Judgment Day breakup last year, with Rhea and Damian being exiled from the group. And now it's kind of transferred and transitioned over to Liv and Dominic, maybe being exiled from their own group in favor of Balor, creating tension with, Roxanne Perez, bringing her in. We were very likely headed for a match at SummerSlam. I don't know if Liv and Dom would have been baby faces by then, or just been the default baby faces because they were going to be in New Jersey, Liv's home state. But they were very clearly building towards Balor and Roxanne versus Liv and Dom. And again, that match is now off the table. In that scenario, you can't replace Liv with anyone that would make sense. Raquel, give me a break. It's not going to be fucking Raquel. That match doesn't even really sound remotely appealing. And it's also because it's in Liv's home state. That's why that match especially works there more than anywhere else. And now she can't be a part of it. So this really is a big blow to that division. And I even mentioned, like, when Liv was gone for a month, it kind of just felt like it gave them an opportunity to spotlight new women, which was nice. They called up Stephanie. They called up Roxanne and Julia, who's now on SmackDown. They've called up a lot of women that are now getting the opportunities that Liv was afforded for a long time. I'm not saying don't give Liv those opportunities. The only real positive I could see to this is just that, giving the opportunities that they were giving to Liv to really carry 3 or 4 different programs at a time. Give those same chances to either one person again or spread them out with Roxanne, with Stephanie. Stephanie just got called up. She has no immediate program at the moment. Rhea Ripley got cost in that 4-way on Monday by Raquel Rodriguez, or last week she did. This week she cost Raquel her match in the Queen of the Ring tournament. I don't really care about a Raquel Rhea program. We've seen that a number of times by this point. We saw Rhea beat her decisively late last year, so it's not really a match I give a shit about. They've had at least 3 or 4 different feuds by this point, so I'm kind of ready to move on from that. But once that runs its course, Rhea Ripley's available. A lot of people will not like the idea to pivot right back to Rhea Ripley as the champion or being in that same spot. You don't need to, but she can work with some of these women, like a Roxanne Perez, who might now be available. I don't know. I mean, Stephanie's probably the top choice because she's also someone they just called up. She has a lot of potential. She's awesome. There's a lot of women on Raw they're not doing a whole lot with right now. Lyra, thankfully, they're keeping busy. Becky and Bayley are also there, but they're kind of intertwined in their own story. It was announced on Raw this week that Bayley will challenge Becky for the Women's Intercontinental Championship next week on Raw. So I feel like that whole thing is probably going to, be a part of its own storyline for a little while now. Like, they'll be involved in their own little bubble. Will Bayley, Will Becky, and Will Lyra. Probably leading to a triple threat match. I would assume it's SummerSlam, if not at Evolution. So they're kind of off the table for right now. But there's a few different options. But the bottom line is Liv being off is a very big blow to that division. And it's more a case and question now of what they do moving forward to rectify that. Liv ain't going to, heal in the span of, miraculously in the span of the next 6 weeks. She will miss all of these major shows. She will miss Evolution. She will miss SummerSlam. Hopefully they can make it up to her by bringing her back, probably as a babyface, honestly. Like, she was already getting cheers anyway, but she'll probably be a full-fledged face by the time she returns in January. A lot like Rhea Ripley was. Rhea Ripley was a heel for all intents and purposes. When she got hurt last year, she came back as a babyface to feud with Liv, and they did the double turn in her absence. Liv will probably be a babyface by January next year, and she can win the Rumble. Some people mentioned that in the chat earlier, and I agree. I think we're looking at a Liv Royal Rumble win, who she faces at Mania, whether it be Roxanne, Rhea again, maybe with the roles reversed by then if Rhea goes back to being a heel in Liv's absence. I'm not sure. But they got to come up with something quick, and they probably will have to turn someone, to be honest. Roxanne filling that spot is great, but they need more top heels in that women's division. Raquel, I think, is good, but she is not the person to be the top heel of that division. That leaves Io, Rhea, and Stephanie. 3 awesome women, but they're all big baby faces. And without Liv Morgan there to kind of combat them as the heel working with all of them, that kind of leaves them with no one really to work with unless one of them goes heel and they can work with each other. So, Stephanie is so over right now. I don't think it'd be Stephanie. Io has gotten organically over. I wouldn't turn Io. I wouldn't even really turn Rhea either. But we might be looking at a situation where they might need to, because they might not have any other choice unless they start swapping women between Raw and SmackDown. Like, maybe they bring over Nia Jax from SmackDown, or they have Becky, I guess. But that's another 2 baby faces. They have Bayley, they have Lyra. They're 2 baby faces right now. They might have to turn Bayley back soon. I wouldn't have done that necessarily, but they might have to. Lyra has been getting over, so I wouldn't really turn her heel right now. But you have Becky and Roxanne. But then you have at least 5 big baby faces in Bayley, Lyra, Rhea, Io, and Stephanie. So they're going to have to figure something out to kind of balance it out and rectify their plans, because Liv being out messes up quite a bit in the interim and the long term. And it sucks to say, because she has really done a great job of improving and being the focal point of that division now for the last year plus. And Liv was never, and even still now, for all the comments in the chat from earlier, pro-Liv, anti-Liv, it was mostly pro-Liv. But the thing with Liv Morgan is, she has done an amazing job, and WWE of showcasing her, but Liv has improved a lot. Like, her mic skills aren't like the best in the company by any means. Her in-ring ability is not the best in the company by any means, but she's a reliable workhorse in that division that has been there through thick and thin. I know she was hurt about 2 years ago. She was gone for a few months then, had the arrest thing happen, whole bunch of other shit. And then she comes back and has the best year of her entire career. A good run of the Rumble, feuds with Rhea Ripley, a great feud overall, some really good matches, aligns with Dom, joins the Judgment Day, wins the tag titles back this year, a great run in Chamber, some great television matches. She and Nia really stepped up and had the best years of their career and carried their respective divisions in 2024. Something I would have never said 5 years ago even, because Liv was never really on that level. She was on the verge of breaking through to that next level, even when she won Money in the Bank in 2022. Like, I was really excited when she won the briefcase 3 years ago. And I think a big part of the reason as to why that whole run failed was because Vince was in charge when she won it, and then Triple H took over, and Liv kind of got lost in the shuffle, kind of fell through the cracks type of thing. And her reign sucked. And then as soon as she lost the belt, that was it. She was kind of out of the picture, and she went right back to doing tag team stuff. And it was almost as if that run as SmackDown Women's Champion 3 years ago never happened. And thankfully, they've since pivoted and, made up for it by making her a queen bee of that division. And she's really made the most of every opportunity they've given to her with media, with, really, making herself a bigger star through her social media work and knocking everything they gave her out of the park. So it comes down to the booking, but it also comes down to Liv herself. And hopefully she can pick up right where she left off and resume that great work when she does come back. Hopefully on the sooner side, but I want her to make a full recovery. If it is around Royal Rumble season, I see no reason as of this moment right now, from when I'm speaking, that she can't win the Royal Rumble in 2025 or 2026. I thought she could win the Rumble in 2024 because I thought it would have made sense. Rhea was champion, Liv and Rhea WrestleMania 40. That didn't happen. But it could happen in 2026, whether it be Roxanne as champion or Becky Lynch. We've seen Liv and Becky a fair amount, but, same thing with Liv and Rhea. But if you reverse the roles, it could make it interesting again. So we'll see. Time will tell. But the situation as it stands sucks. Wishing the best for Liv. Hopefully she gets better soon, and we see her back on the Sooner side. And that division will certainly, her presence will certainly be missed. Her absence will be felt for the next several months for sure.